person for possible disciplinary action.
Yeah, this is the Civil War at the top I'm talking about.
So they go, hey, how long have you known this person? In what capacity? How do you socialize? Have you ever heard this person vocalize support for Donald Trump?
By the way,
this is a question that the FBI is asking. Have you ever heard this other person you work with?
But somebody with security clearance. So think of that. That's somebody who knows stuff that we don't know. And they're like suspicious of the vaccine possibly.
Yes.
Or of the cases against Trump.
Yes.
So that's a good deal. That means like potentially someone who knows what they're up to.
That's right. That's exactly right, Kurt. Somebody who knows what they're up to. So here it is. That's from the FBI Security Division.
This is what they did in colleges, and they
so
do
they don't
jobs. It's the same thing everywhere. They did a purge of people that aren't part of the cabal.
So if you get rid of all the right wingers inside the FBI, how are they going to do all those supposed Nazi marches down Main Street with matching slacks? Or are those people that just identify as Nazis temporarily?
Yeah.
So you have to respect their personal choices. So here's another one. After inquiring, I'll read this to you. After inquiring whether the interviewed individual socialized with our client, the pre-printed interview outline then lists the following questions, among others, about our client's First Amendment protected activities. Did they vocalize support for the President Trump? Did they vocalize objection to COVID-19 vaccination? Did they vocalize intent to attend the January 6th protest?
Well, I did, but my superior officer told me to go undercover.
The outline with these questions was used in at least 3 interviews of FBI employees who worked with our client. So you thought it was dangerous having Trump supporters in the FBI. You don't think that these people doing this shit are more dangerous than Trump supporters?
But why would
they are? They're the ones who will protect their careers by checking off any fucking box that they are told to. They don't have their own thoughts anymore, and people like that become the most dangerous ones because somebody else tells them what to do, and they just do it.
Yeah, that's what MK Ultra was to design, and
yes.
we did it, and that's who gets promoted. It's not like magical. It's the most think of all the people you know who don't vocalize their objections at work, and they just go, "This is not happening. I just want to keep my head down and do my job." That's who they look for. That's what a sociopath is.
So what they're doing here, the FBI is purging Trump supporters and anyone against lockdowns. What does the FBI think they are? Hollywood? Come on. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. What do you think they are, the CIA?
This page shows that the FBI Security Division interrogated our client's co-workers about his views on the COVID-19 vaccine. Can you imagine this shit?
Yes.
I guess
to everybody. It's about time the FBI had to go through this bullshit everybody else had to go through. Every other job has this shit. Every college has this. Every school has it. Everybody knuckled under and acted like it was fine. And then you're supposed to focus on your hatred of Trump or whatever dumb thing they tell you to hate and act like this isn't worse. But it is worse, and everybody can see it now.
So they say, I write today to formally disclose to you on our client's behalf shocking documents in SECD's investigative file that evidence and abuse of authority and violation of our client's rights under the First Amendment. These documents appear to demonstrate SECD's political bias and abuse of the security clearance process to purge the FBI of employees who express disfavored political views or concerns about the COVID-19 vaccine requirements. Well, they can't give you a security clearance if you're going to blab about their plans to coup Donald Trump. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but he wasn't revealing any secrets. He was just revealing, I guess, or she, I don't know who this person is, but they were just possibly revealing feelings they had about stuff that I don't even know was related to their work.
The 3 pre-printed questions asked our client's fellow employees show that the FBI systematically compelled them to report on our client's personal political beliefs and views of the COVID-19 vaccine. The information compel the FBI employees to disclose about our clients is completely irrelevant to any legitimate security risk determination, and reliance on it to revoke a security clearance obviously violates the First Amendment. Based on these documents, it is reasonable for our client to believe that the SECD has been doing this more broadly in many other cases in an effort to purge employees with disfavored views from the FBI. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. It means that well, here, let's watch this.
You broke some news overnight at Just the News. The FBI busted purging the Bureau of Trump supporters. Tell us about that.
Such an important story, and I suspect that this will be a snowball, that we will see announcement of an investigation in a couple.
So this is the guy who broke the story.
Days by the Justice Department Inspector General, the same one that unraveled Russia collusion 4 years ago. The FBI was reviewing a security clearance for a everyday worker who worked in a secure facility, and in the course of that, they decided to ask questions like, did this worker vocalize support for Donald Trump? Did they vocalize hesitancy for COVID-19? Did they attend a Second Amendment rally in Richmond, Virginia? All three of those are First Amendment protected decisions. People have free speech even when you join the FBI. None of those have any bearing on a security clearance. At least out of all the experts I've talked to, not a single one of them said, geez, a political preference is a basis for determining whether you get a security clearance. But in this case, that is what the FBI did. These documents are now public. The Empower Whistleblower Center, Empower Oversight Whistleblower Center, which gave us the IRS whistleblowers that changed the course of that Hunter Biden case we just talked about, and the FBI whistleblowers who alleged that there was shenanigans going on in the January 6th investigation, they represent this client as well. I am hearing from inside the FBI that there are other examples of Donald Trump litmus testing and other political ideological tests being done during these security clearances. I expect that to come out in the next few weeks. But just think about this. If the FBI was asking whether someone was a Joe Biden supporter or whether they vocalized support for abortion, the left would be up in arms. They would be nuts. They would be screaming and yelling. But because it's Donald Trump and because it's COVID-19 vaccines, the left thus far has been totally silent about the story we broke last night.
John Solomon, always on it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here today. All right.
And so what this means is that the FBI is full of people willing to surrender their freedoms.
Right.
And
I'm an ambitious woman, Jimmy. I want to advance my career.
And if they're willing to surrender their own freedoms, what do you think they're going to do to your freedoms?
You're not even a living being to them.
You're correct. Here's what Tucker says about this.
The most powerful law enforcement organization in the world, certainly in the free world, or what we've referred to for our lifetimes as the free world. So the nightmare scenario is that it becomes subverted into a secret police force, a Tauntaun Makut accountable to politicians and used to punish the adversaries of the regime. That's the one thing you can't have.
It was started as that.
That's how, yeah. So Tucker, it's not.
It hasn't degraded.
It's not
it was
perverted. It's not perverted. It's verted. That's what the FBI started out as, and that's what it currently is.
Yeah, that's one thing you can count on in this crazy world. It's still a weird blackmail thing for perverts.
Or your country will no longer be a free country. Well, there's some evidence, unfortunately, that is happening, and the latest comes from an FBI whistleblower. And the documents that he's handed over to John Solomon of Just the News suggest that the FBI now has an internal political litmus test. In his case, in order to get a security clearance after 12 years working for the agency, the FBI checked whether he supported the vax regime, Donald Trump, the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And after it was determined that he supported all of these things, which at least half the country does support, he was denied his security clearance. Again, this comes from documents newly unearthed that confirmed the FBI checked his loyalty before allowing him a security clearance. And when denied that, he was suspended indefinitely without pay. So the FBI has not provided any comment to John Solomon, who broke the story and got these documents. But Tristan Levitt, who's the president of the group Empower Oversight, is representing him in court and joins us right now with an overview of this case. Tristan, thank you very much for coming on. So, my pleasure. Is that a fair characterization? Or why don't instead you start at the beginning and tell us what you have uncovered and what this employee underwent at the FBI?
So what makes this a little bit different from your average FBI employee is that this employee, who has chosen to remain anonymous, did get swept up into the funnel of folks being investigated after January 6th. So the FBI cast a very wide net because of that. There was frankly some hysteria within the Bureau, almost McCarthyism, searching out anybody that had views with any tie, after searching out anybody who had any ties to events of that day, then examining their views. So this client particularly is someone who had decided on the day of January 6th to go down and hear President Trump's speech. After attending the rally, he walked down to the Capitol and stayed outside on the grounds. He never went inside the Capitol. He was never involved in any violence. He was never involved in any conflict. Eventually, the FBI became aware that he had been at the Capitol, which is ironic because the day after it, he self-reported his attendance. But that went, that didn't attract any notice within the FBI until a year later. And at that point, the hysteria was in full force. And so there were a number of FBI whistleblowers, several of whom we have represented, people like Steve Friend, Marcus Allen, Garrett O'Boyle, who were objecting in various ways to how the FBI was approaching its investigations of those related to January 6th. But this particular individual had his security clearance suspended, and that's when all of this hit. And so 1 year ago, I testified alongside 3 of those other whistleblowers, Steve Friend, Marcus Allen, Garrett O'Boyle, in front of the Weaponization Committee. And at the time, the FBI had just released information that they had all had their security clearances suspended, a couple of them revoked. And so as we started that hearing, Delegate Stacey Plaskett opened by saying, Chairman Jordan, you've invited these people here who are a threat to our national security. How dare you? And now a year later, we've been able to pull back the curtain and see the FBI's documentation for why it did what it did with their clearances. And that's the context in which we've seen this sort of questioning going on, asking people if they ever supported President Trump. And mind you, it wasn't just that they asked these individuals. These were interviews by the Security Clearance Division of their fellow employees. So people who were compelled to answer, who had to either answer these questions from the Security Division or have their own security clearance called into question. And they were asked, did you ever socialize with these individuals? What was your association with them? And then asked these extremely intrusive questions. And so that's the context in which this very problematic set of questions came up. And what we are hearing is that this may be just the tip of the iceberg, that there were many, that certainly there have been allegations out there that once people got swept into that security funnel, that there was a purge of FBI employees that had conservative views or had skepticism of the vaccine or just hesitancy to receive it. And now in black and white, we've uncovered those documents because of our client's security appeal, where we've been able to see the basis on which his colleagues were questioned. And this is extremely problematic.
It was pretty clear from the beginning. I mean, there are different threads here, but on the vax specifically, that the vaccine mandates were designed, and certainly their effect was, to winnow out people with high testosterone levels, independent thinking, commitment to liberty, common sense, out of positions in the federal government. And that would definitely include the military, but also at the agencies, including the FBI. So did they found out this guy didn't take the vax, and that was one of the factors?
Yeah, it clearly was one of the factors. And it's ironic because this came 3 months after a court had put an injunction on the federal employee vaccine mandate. And so this was not even a live issue. Right. This was not a matter of you're currently required to and you're not. Months after that, they're asking his colleagues, did he ever express any hesitancy about the COVID-19 vaccine?
Hesitancy. Did he pause before allowing an injection? Okay.
Yes. And of course, the reverse of this, right? I think every American would agree. It would not be appropriate in the future for the FBI to ask employees, did they ever express any support for receiving an abortion? This idea that that's any of the FBI's business whatsoever is really, really outrageous.
Support for Donald Trump, support for the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, our founding document. So these are disqualifying positions?
Well, that's clearly seems to be the case behind the scenes. Now, again, keep in mind, this is not what was put into the security clearance suspension letter that our client received or that other whistleblowers we have represented received. It's not what went into their revocation letters. So it's only now, like I said, pulling back the curtain that we see that it's behind closed doors, right? So it's within this black box of secrecy. And it's really this secret process that has no oversight from the outside, generally no oversight from the Inspector General, no oversight from Congress. That's an environment that allowed this to flourish, because otherwise we never would have known about this had we not seen those backing documents. Because again, the proposals themselves didn't reference any of these things that we would consider illegitimate. They just talked about whether someone engaged in violence, whether they broke laws on January 6th. And the things that stretched beyond that into personal political views, or again, even feelings about one's own bodily autonomy, all of that was hidden in these documents. And now that we've ripped the mask off the FBI, again, we are certainly going to push the Inspector General to see whether this happened in other cases. And we strongly expect that they will find that it did.
So for those.
So there you have it. Here's your FBI that the Democrat voters now love ever since Donald Trump was elected. They're doing political litmus tests. They're violating people's First Amendments. Of course they are. They're not even working for the president. They work for for who else? For corporations. They're purging people against they're a criminal organization. Of course they are.
Do you know
and if they would at least solve a crime once in a while, I think I could overlook some of it. But they don't. The only crimes they solve are the ones they set up themselves.
So, the concept of the shadow government, which I didn't make up, that's a thing we actually have.
Yes.
And George W. Bush put the shadow government in charge when he was after that goat book he was reading. In case the president dies, we have a shadow government.
Right.
Continuance of government.
Right.
All those things are real things we've had for a long time that are established and not made up. All of a sudden, it's, deep state? What is that? People say that. What even is a deep state?
I was talking to a comedian at the Comedy Magic Club on Saturday, and he had a hard time believing that Jeffrey Epstein was working with the CIA and the Mossad. He's like,
mostly with Israel.
He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, this is.
What do you think he was? A lone
What do you
wolf?
think? Yeah, you think
A lone wolf pervert?
He goes, well, why would they pick him? I don't know, maybe because he liked being a pedophile.
Why would they pick him? Wait, did he even understand the nature of anything with Jeffrey Epstein?
I
must not have.
I guess not. It
For
was
blackmail purposes.
It was shocking to me. I'm like, do you understand? This is how they got princes. They got presidents of the United States were on Epstein Island. They got.
You can't even get in a
They get
position of power
everybody.
until you go to Epstein.
That's right. They got everybody.
Oh, who was telling me? Somebody I know. It was so crazy. Their girlfriend.
So if somebody has an inexplicable support of Israel's genocide and says crazy things, maybe it has something to do with some blackmail.
Do people think anything other than blackmail gets things done?
Right?
Do you actually think that?
I mean, do you really think they set up Jeffrey Epstein so they couldn't blackmail everybody? They even got Chomsky. That's why Chomsky was saying all that crazy shit. I'm going to bet you any money why he was saying that crazy shit.
He better.
Well, he said that stuff about 9/11, that 9/11 happened exactly as the government said.
When did he start saying that?
I don't know, but he said that.
It was post-Epstein visit?
I don't know. But
that's a good point. I didn't think that.
But they didn't start blackmailing people just with Epstein.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Hugh Hefner,
they've been doing that
Hugh
forever.
Hefner, the Playboy Mansion. Remember Hugh Hefner?
They've been doing it forever.
P. Diddy, who's a Fed the whole time, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody who heard they had this house where you just fuck a lot and party, well, they put cameras there.
Yeah.
Then they invite the glitterati to show up. And then they film them, and then they have to do as they're told. Rob De Niro has to make a fool of himself with those two fake cops behind him.
Yes, those two fake cops.
And he's like,
liars.
They're going to carry me off it because I'll bet you they are. I'll bet you they are going to care. It's so insane that you're like, why would they care about Robert De Niro? Well, because they have some kind of blackmail on him.
That's right.
Probably connected to that ring that came up in the last
Yes.
segment we did about him.
So anyway, okay, that's it. That's it for today. We're gonna do a locals.
Yes, you're correct.
Right. That's 8. Right.
Yeah, we did 7.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, didn't I have? Oh, why did I have 8?
Yeah, I think it's 8.
No,
I think she's
it's
off.
7. It's 7.
It's 7.
Yeah, it is 7.
Did you see Chuck Schumer putting cheese on raw hamburger on the grill?
Oh, I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Did you want to do the whale?
You already went on the whale?
Yeah, I went on the whale.
Oh,
Want me to show you?
Yeah.
Okay, go over to Steph.
Okay, great. Here we go.
I wanted to show Chuck Schumer.
All right.
He showed himself barbecuing.
Yeah.
And then he had to delete it. You know why?
Why?
He wasn't kosher.
Oh, is that why?
He was mixing meat and dairy. He put cheese on meat. You can't do that.
Oh,
When I saw it, I only saw people mocking him for like that's not when you put the cheese on when it's raw.
No, that's not when you put the cheese on.
It didn't even occur to me the kosher thing. Wait, is he not really Jewish and just posing as he's Jewish?
Why would he do that? Okay, here we go. If everyone healed their childhood trauma, our society would heal as a whole, and we'd realize a lot of things we're blind to at the moment. Key is to psychologically separate from parents so you don't compulsively obey. Thank you, Hannah, sir. Go Kerp, my real name. Another word. Oh, I read that one, Hannah, sir. Thank you. What compels people to bring children into this rotten, fucked up? Oh, I read that one. Listen, I would have brought kids into the world. Except,
oh, that's what they were saying?
Yeah, they said.
I thought to bring them into showbiz.
No, fuck. No, I thought they meant the entirety of our system.
Oh, don't be a stupid antinatalist. Now I'm for poor people just breeding out of control like they used to be worried about. Now I'm all for it. That'll be the thing that saves us in the end. Is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
What is this? Chill pop? Or Chiliop, join the voluntary human extinction movement. What? Just stop breeding, bow, and leave the stage with some humility. Quit while you're ahead.
Is that where we are ahead?
Yeah, I guess so.
That voluntary movement, I used to, 20 years ago, I had a book called Kooks about this woman, Donna Cosi. It's a good book. She collected every fringe belief, some of which have come back around.
Uh-huh.
And one of them was this guy, Paul something, from the voluntary human extinction movement. And I would write to him. So I was like, why would I do that? Like he was very friendly. Well, now 20 years later, I'm watching Rogan, and Elon Musk is saying this guy is massively influential with all the tech companies. This weirdo that was about people.
Really?
Yeah. And I watch, I'm like, wait, what? Of course he is. All that population control thing, there's plenty for everyone on the earth, just so you know. There's plenty. The idea there's not enough was given to you by very wealthy psychopaths who look at you as cattle.
Oh, all right.
We could all have a diamond if we want. You know, there's plenty of those. Things aren't really scarce. A bunch of people that control the things say they're scarce.
Right. Look up the experiment where they made mice wear tiny pants. It's not relevant. It's just funny. I think that is so funny, Rocket Mummy. I will be looking that up.
Did they really do that?
He said, maybe look it up, Misha. Look up the experiment where mice wear tiny pants.
Dr. Fauci's House of Horrors never ends.
And that, my lord, is how we know the earth to be banana-shaped. Brewdog. Hey, no need for extinction, but there is a need for healing ourselves, which will naturally scale our out-of-control cancerous society back down to a healthy, small-scale, wild, and free one again. Hannah, sir, thank you. Back to Jim Jam.
So here's Chuck Schumer, and he tweets out, our family has lived in an apartment building for all our years, but my daughter and her wife just bought a house with a backyard. And for the first time, we're having a barbecue with hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. Father's Day heaven. First of all, so I don't know if you can tell, but those burgers aren't cooked. Those are still raw.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already got a piece of cheese on one of them.
Mm.
That's not how you cook it.
That's not how you cook it. You
I
wait.
think he got made fun of and took it down, right?
So they say that he took so much shit for that, for being such a moron, not even knowing how to barbecue a burger, that he took the post down because it says this post has been deleted.
Right.
But I went and checked mixing milk and beef. Is that prohibited in kosher?
Is he an observant Jew, though?
Oh, I don't know, but he's Mr. Jew. I know that. He loves Israel.
But that's Zionist. See, you don't have to, let me explain something. You don't have to be an observant Jew you don't get kicked out. It's not like.
Well, let me just show you this. Milk represents life and nourishment. So
Yeah, right.
There are several reasons why mixing milk and beef is prohibited in kosher law.
It's treif. He was eating treif. But
Milk represents life and nourishment, while meat represents death and sacrifice. Mixing the two is seen as a symbol of combining life and death, which is considered inappropriate. In Jewish tradition, milk and meat are considered to be in different categories of ritual purity. Mixing them together could potentially contaminate the milk and make it impure. Some rabbis have suggested that mixing milk and meat could lead to health problems, as the digestive system of humans and animals are different.
I was told, my ex who told me it was because it's cruel to use like the milk to cook the meat of the animal. Like it's like cruelty. That's how she put it to me. I don't know. But she
Is that like adding chicken to an omelet?
Well, Italians won't make no fish and cheese.
It's like
Italians would never put like a fish
so
fillet.
they say don't put cheese on fish, but I think that's just for taste reasons.
Yeah, well, I don't think he's an observant Jew. I think you don't have to be an observant
So
Jew.
you think he took it down just because he looked like such a moron the way he was cooking this?
First of all, I think he looks like an alien. That's so insane.
He does.
I think it's like, are you an underground lizard? Is what I don't think it even.
So let me go to Steph for a second. I'm going to expand this so we can take a better look.
You know, I also would say about that photo, it was like they go, okay, you go pretend that you've been barbecuing.
Yeah.
That's all that photo was. Like he didn't barbecue those hot dogs. He's
I think
just
they
like
photoshopped a baby out of the picture and put in this.
Right. Okay. That's our thought. That's where we stand on this. Okay. As Jimmy's doing this, he's enlarging that. Okay. Let me see what
Okay,
this
you
is.
can come to me.
Silly Schumer girls can't
So-
have wives. Oh, Roddy. Back to Jimmy.
So you see, these burgers are raw.
Mhm.
They look like they're still frozen, and he's already got a piece of cheese on it.
Those hot dogs would be taken off now, probably.
Right? Yeah,
Start moving. Well, how did you cook those so perfectly?
yeah.
Is someone else doing this and you just jumped in and
That's
said,
right. That's what I think.
And why? Yeah. And why would you have it on the spatula if it's not cooked yet? You put it when you put it
'Cause
on
it's a photo op.
Yes, you don't put it on the grill on a spatula. You put it with your hand on the grill, and then you use the spatula after it's cooked on one side. Obviously, those aren't cooked at all. And why would you put the cheese on the uncooked side?
He's not the one grilling.
Yeah.
That's why.
Anyway, so I just wanted to show that.
But
So-
you know what's nice is he took his glasses off
He did
just to
take
make
his
sure he
glasses
looks
off.
pretty.
Yeah.
Hey, put your glasses on when you work a grill the first time in your life. He's never even had a grill before.
His daughter and his wife, he's also virtue signaling that he's got a gay kid.
Yeah, because listen, if you're virtue signaling to me about your daughter and her wife, I doubt you care about the meat and cheese prohibitions from the Torah.
Oh, I bet you're right.
Because you know what else ain't kosher?
Gay marriage.
Yeah, so it means nothing. Here, the whole point is that's how you got these demented Sabbatean Frankists was the observant Jews didn't want to kick anybody out. They'd been hunted by so much, right? From pogroms and stuff. So there's nothing you could do to be. David Cross used to have a joke about it of like, if you didn't want to be Jewish, there's nothing you could do. No, you're still Jewish. Did you come out of a Jewish vagina? Then you're Jewish. It's not like I got this fellowship from my thing, or you could get excommunicated from being a Catholic, even though that's kind of hard, right?
Uh-huh.
Barry always was trying to get the Pope to excommunicate him.
Yeah, it's hard.
But when Judaism, they didn't want to let, so all kinds of crazy heretics were allowed to stay. You know, that's why the Star of David is not the Star of David. It's the Seal of Solomon. It's not, the cross isn't a Jesus thing. Everybody has a fake thing for their thing. Zionism is, you don't have to be a good Jew. You just got to support Israel. This means nothing, okay? Like in the world of Zionism.
So he just took it down because he was being an
Yes.
idiot.
Judaism and Zionism are not the same thing, even though they're conflated.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. We're gonna do a Steph's gonna read the rest of your Rumble rants, and then we're gonna do what is it called?
Locals.
Called the locals.
You guys
Yeah,
are
we probably will
swingers?
do that in about 5 minutes, just so you know. Okay, so why don't we
Okay.
do that? Can you give me a clear
Can I-
background?
Can I-
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Vancouver.
Yeah, you want to play
Are
an
we
ad right
on
now?
air?
Oh no,
Yeah.
we're on there.
Let's go play an
Hey,
ad
I'm at
right
Rick Bronson's in BC
Rick-
this weekend.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Friday?
Yep.
Here, I'll hand it to me.
In British Columbia. What city?
I thought Vancouver, that is, but maybe I'm wrong.
All right.
I don't, hold on.
We're going to play a quick ad, Jimmy, while you're looking that over. We'll be right back.
Okay. Play an ad. Hey, the mainstream media is unreliable and dishonest. That's why you watch this show, right?
Yes.
How can you trust them when they never told you the truth about Russiagate, Julian Assange, Ukraine, COVID, Syria? That's where our sponsor, Ground News, comes in. Ground News is an app and a website that gathers related articles from around the world in one place so you can compare the coverage, kind of like what we do with this show. They give you a visual breakdown of the news outlets, tell you if a source has a political bias, and how reliable the reporting is and who owns them, kind of like what we do with this show. Check this out. If you search Donald Trump for the top articles on his conviction, here's a story. It's after guilty verdict, Trump will appear on the ballot in the last presidential primaries of 2024. So we see 27 related articles, 8 are left-leaning, 2 are right-leaning, 11 are center. Bias distribution is 52% center. And it even shows their logos along with their factuality and their ownership. Very helpful. Ground News gets you access to independent and international perspectives, not just nationalist sources with the same political agendas. It helps you to find the discrepancies in how certain topics are covered and shows you how corporate agendas can influence the news you read, kind of like what we do with this show. Sounds a lot like this show. So if you want to see it for yourself, go to ground.news/JD. Use the link below to get 40% off unlimited access. That's ground.news/JD.
These are
Need me to go, man?
Hi, what are you doing?
Chilling, man.
Are you homeless?
Yeah, I stayed here to get out of the rain last night.
Enjoy your time, buddy.
All right, thank you. Need me to
round a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical bris, soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. Shut it down. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running the system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it, then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. Every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. Men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies. What about all of the young men, women, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, by drug pushers? I mean, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, making a quick buck, I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. How long are people going to sit back and beg, this government to do what's right, when for hundreds of years, all you've gotten is a slap in the face. All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit